Hey everyone, and welcome to The Impossible. Today we have a clip from a full-length episode with Maxsween, where Paul dives deep into how you should build a community around your training. Particularly, we dive into the community and the crew you can build in the gym space and in the gym atmosphere. However, these concepts he lays out can apply to any pursuit in any space. Check out this clip to learn the most important thing Paul has discovered in building a community that cannot fail and can help push you toward your ultimate goal. Powerful place to be, bro. Yeah. So you talk about, I love how you said that the number one thing to look for in a community is consistency.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful mindset, because I think so many people would say you want experience. You want the most experienced crew you can find. And that's great. Like, experience is invaluable.
Sure.
But you can't necessarily, we're blessed at Monsters. We can step into a gym where that squat crew we train with probably has over a combined, if you add everybody's experience up, we have probably a combined 100 years of training experience in there.
Yeah.
If you look at like Matt and Clayton and
Tab.
you had Pete and Tab and all those guys in there, and even you and I are starting to build some experience up. I mean, I've been lifting for 7 years at this point, almost 8, and now powerlifting only really 4 or 5, but still, it adds up over time. But
no, it's starting to add up.
Yeah,
it's stacking up.
Especially you get Gary in there.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Gary's going to have 100 years of experience himself before it's all said and done.
Yeah, we love Gary.
He's a myth and a legend, but but no, dude, it's experience is huge. But I love that you said consistency,
right?
Because that allows anybody to walk into any gym, and if you can just find people who are consistent, that is such a foundational piece. It almost doesn't matter how much experience they have, because you'll build up the experience.
Yeah, you'll gain
time.
the experience just by being consistent.
Yeah. That's the key to experience is consistency. You can't have experience without that.
Exactly.
So wherever you guys are right now, whatever your training style is, even if it's not powerlifting, go into a gym, find a group of people who are consistent.
Yeah.
Even if it's just 2 or 3 people around you, then you can all work to build that consistency together, and then follow that pursuit of whatever it is you're chasing, and you will get to a place where you all develop masterful experience just from that consistency.
Oh yeah.
I think that's huge. So in looking for a coach, because I know you're kind of coaching yourself right now, and it has gone beautifully this past prep. What do people look for in a good coach that you want to bring on?
Probably the top 3 things would be availability, adequate judgment, and probably experience.
Yeah, and I think those are good pieces. And I think for a coach, we talked about experience with a group and how consistency is even more important. But with a coach, you definitely want experience.
Like, where is this coach? Where have you pushed yourself through? Where have you put yourself?
And I think that's perfect. I like how you say that. Where have you put yourself? Because and not, you didn't necessarily say like what numbers have you hit,
right?
Because there is this philosophy that I believe in, that sometimes the greatest coaches aren't always the best athletes, and vice versa. The best athletes in the world don't always make a good coach. Like, you have amazing, incredible, unbelievably strong athletes out there.
Right.
And they know how to get really strong for themselves, and they've had coaches help get themselves there. Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be a good coach to other people.
No.
Sometimes that comes through, but not always.
Not always.
And so you don't necessarily need a person who is the strongest ever.
Right.
But you do want somebody who has put themselves in incredibly strength demanding situations.
Yeah.
And that doesn't always require like the highest numbers ever.
Right.
It requires them to put themselves in a state of strength, like you talk about, in hyper competitive environments, in incredibly intense environments. And this is an important thing, because right now in the age of Instagram and online social media and stuff, you're kind of seeing this wave of where, like, not to discredit anybody, but you see people who will go out and do like 1, 2, maybe 3 competitions, and all of a sudden they're a coach on Instagram,
Right.
you know? And it's like, again, not to discredit anybody, but it's like, have you really built up enough experience that you can actually charge to coach people at a high level? You know, you got to be careful about that, I think, as an athlete.
My first 3 meets they were incredible. Mm-hmm. But my 7th meet, I got disqualified.
Yeah.
Because I bombed out.
Yeah. And
so by my 3rd meet, I wasn't even close to being where I bombed out.
Yeah. You hadn't even built that level of experience yet, you know? So I think that's something to look for whenever you're looking for a coach. What is their experience level? And again, not that they've necessarily, certainly you want somebody who's strong and who has built a high level of strength for themselves, but you don't necessarily need somebody who's like become the strongest athlete ever, who has nothing but all-time world records, you know, but you need somebody who has put themselves in that position of strength, likely competed at some pro meets before, and you know, has a rich background of not just training and competing, but also educating themselves. That's one thing I always appreciated so highly with Curtis, is like, he's invested so much time, energy, and money and resource into going to like elite FTS conferences, going to strength conferences. He's got a degree in kinesthesiology. You know, like, he's built that foundational background of knowledge and education and experience to help complement everything that he's done under the bar as well. And I think that's what makes him such a powerfully effective coach.
Yeah, I think, well, just for comparison, my first meet is a local meet at Monsters. You know, everything there's pretty much just about as controlled environment as you're gonna get. Is a local meet at your own gym. Like, that's pretty much like ground zero.
Yeah, and that's a good place to start for people,
which is great, fantastic. Yeah. Like, if your local gym has a powerlifting meet, that's incredible because it's fun. Yeah, you know, I've met a lot of friends through that way, like people that come there. But so that's like complete controlled environment. You know, as far as powerlifting meets go. Now let's fast forward to my 7th meet, nationals last year in October, out in Indiana. 1, I went away from home. 2, I'm in a completely new environment. 3, I'm on a completely different setup. You know, we were running two different platforms.
Of like monos you weren't used to at all either.
Monos I don't use. Well, the Dynabody's fine. It's not.
Do they have the Dynabody?
Yeah, it was the Dynabody.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the Invictus out there.
Oh, might be.
I think it was I think Invictus did that whole meet
Invictus.
Because they were willing to like bring all the equipment out, set it up, tear it down. Yeah, I think it was an Invictus mono you were using, which we've never used before.
So it was, yeah. I mean, it's completely new equipment. You're right. Yeah, no, it was completely new equipment. You know, I mean, that factors in some, not a lot, but it does factor in.
Yeah, you can't let it control you or derail you, but it is an additional, you know, challenge that you have to take into consideration.
But the thing about that meet was the timing. You know, if you're used to training a certain way, competing a certain way, by that time I had 6 meets, almost the same exact way. You know, so I was used to that. Yeah, I get to nationals,
you put yourself in a totally new position.
I had a good total. I had a good record, but now it's like, where they had 2 platforms, the meet director wasn't as experienced as what he needed to be to run 2 platforms. So now my platform stops for an hour and a half to let the other platform catch up.
And that whole time you're just sitting.
And so between bench and deadlifts, by the time I'm in the last flight anyway, by the time I benched and deadlift, it was over 4 hours. Like, I was done. Yeah, you know, like it was a long time.
Yeah, and it's hard to keep yourself fresh throughout all of that as well.
So it ended up being 12-hour meet.
Yeah, just a long day.
It's a long day. Yeah. It's like there was long breaks. Yeah, in between all this stuff. Yeah, and like I was not ready for that. Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, but it's an experience you've now built. So if you ever get in that situation again, you'll know how to handle it better. Yeah. And so like anybody who you're looking for a coach would have competed enough and put themselves in enough high level positions, like competing at a national meet or traveling for meets in general, or maybe a professional meet, that like they've encountered a lot of those challenges themselves. So they would be able to help you as an athlete work around and overcome those challenges. And I think even though Clayton wasn't your coach, he had enough experience. He's part of your community. He was able to help you through some of those things that day.
Yeah, Clayton helped a lot.
Yeah, and that's huge. And that's a big piece. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this impossible moment today. If you learned something from this clip, the only thing we ever ask is that you please share it with as many people as you know. And if you want to dive deeper into the full episode, please click up here and it will take you directly to that full episode. Furthermore, if you really enjoy the content we're putting out with Impossible Performance and you want to become a part of this conversation off the camera and have exclusive member benefits to the podcast and private Q&As with our guests, click the link below in the description to join our online school community, where you can join an immersive community of individuals who are all working toward common goals in their lives. We can all learn and grow together. Hope to see you there. Thank you for listening today, and as always, be impossible.